Hey, hi everyone. I am Pulkit and I am an undergrad student at the Indian Institute of Technology, Varanasi, India. My project is to implement a security validator for the Jenkins Kubernetes operator. So today we are going to discuss about why we need a security validator for the operator and how I am going to implement it and what work I have done in the phase one and what work I will do in the phase two of this GSOC program. So let's get started quickly. So yeah, okay. So first I am going to give a brief introduction to the Jenkins Kubernetes operator. So yeah, as the name suggests, we are running Jenkins on top of Kubernetes, right? But we can't run Jenkins on top of Kubernetes directly because Jenkins is a stateful application and Kubernetes thrives for stateless applications, right? So that's why we need a custom operator to run Jenkins on top of Kubernetes. So this is the whole purpose of the operator to run Jenkins on top of Kubernetes to make it more scalable and immutable, right? So let me give a brief about the architecture of the operator. So we are launching the operator as a deployment, and we are using role-based access control to give it access to certain resources on Kubernetes resources, right? So we are giving it access to the custom resources, the Jenkins resources that we have defined, and various other resources like secrets, config map services as well. So that's about the architecture. Okay, about the Jenkins custom resources, right? So we are launching Jenkins instances as a custom resource application. So we have extended the Kubernetes API and we are launching these instances as custom resources, right? So we are defining these instances in a declarative manner, right? So for example, we have various fields like in the spec section, we have defined various fields for master as well as its seed jobs and as well. So, for example, we have defined the for defining the plugins in this custom resource, we have to specify it in the spec dot master section, right? So, in to specify what plugin the master is going to use, we have to specify the name of the plugin as well as the version of the plugin. So these are for user-defined plugins, and apart from the user-defined plugins, we have base plugins as well, which are being defined in the reconciliation. Okay, so the problem of the security vulnerabilities, right? So because we are using a declarative configuration syntax, so that's why when the user tries to declare tries to launch a Jenkins instance on top of Kubernetes, then because of the declarative syntax, the few of the plugins may contain security vulnerabilities, and the user have no way of knowing whether any of the plugins may have security vulnerabilities or not. So that's where the whole validator webhook comes into picture. So it adds an extra step before creating the object. So for example, in this particular plugin, the Google login plugin, so we may have security warnings. We have these security warnings mentioned in the site, but the user can't know whether there is a security warning because he is using the declarative syntax. So that's why we are using the validation webhooks, right? So that's what the security validator is all about. So about the implementation. So I am using validating admission webhooks to implement the security validator. So what happens is when request and request for a object comes to the Kubernetes API, so the API HTTP handler like sends checks if there is a validating admission configuration. If there is a validating webhook configuration, then before persisting it to the XAD cluster, it first sends the request to the validating admission webhook configuration, right? And which in turn call these webhooks, which are nothing but appended to the Kubernetes operator itself, right? So this validated admission configurations calls a webhook before creating an object. So whether an object will be created or not depends on if the webhook approves the object or not. So about the implementation. Okay. So let's talk about the implementation. So the first step was to scaffold a new webhook using the operator framework, right? So I have scaffolded a new webhook using the operator framework, right? So the operator framework will take care of creating handlers for handling the HTTP requests from the Kubernetes API and appending the webhook to the manager, right? So we have to implement only the validator interface, right? So after scaffolding, the another problem that I have faced was to manage TLS certificates. So webhooks interact to the Kubernetes API over HTTPS, and so it used transport layer security we as well. So that's why we need TLS certificates to establish a connection between the webhook and the Kubernetes API, right? So the that's how the whole communication works. So the webhook is like appended to the operator itself, and it is exposed to the API via webhook service. Okay, and the Kubernetes API interacts with the webhook service, and the service then redirects a request to the Jenkins operator webhook, right? So this whole communications happen over HTTPS. So we need valid TLS certificates to establish a valid connection between them, right? So that's where Cert Manager comes into picture. So Cert Manager is a Kubernetes add-on, right? So it is used for provisioning and renewal of TLS certificates. So we are using self-signed certificates and to establish a connection between the Kubernetes API and the webhook, right? So what happens is we using Cert Manager, we are creating certificates. We are creating objects of type certificates, and these certificate objects are then mounted onto a Kubernetes secret, right? So the webhook reads from this Kubernetes secrets. The certificates are read by the webhook from this particular Kubernetes secret. And apart from that, Cert Manager launches a CA injector code, right? So this CA injector code takes the webhook certificate and fills the CA bundle of the validating webhook configuration, right? So now, since both the webhook and the validating webhook configuration, the Kubernetes API have certificates, right? So the webhook have certificates, and the Kubernetes API knows that the webhook has this certificate and it trusts this certificate. So the okay, so let's talk about implementing the validator interface. So as I mentioned that we have scaffolded the webhook using the OSDK, and OSDK takes care of scaffolding handlers for us as well. So we just have to implement the validator interface, right? So in my implementation, so there I have to implement just two functions: the function for updating and the function for creating a new Jenkins custom resource. So first I added a new spec named validate security warnings in the Jenkins custom resource definition. So when this particular spec is enabled, so it is a Boolean spec. When this particular spec is enabled, then only the validation will occur. So it is like a toggle switch for enabling or disabling the validation. Apart from that, to implement the validation logic, I am using Jenkins plugin site API, right, to fetch the security warnings, and then because we have the site API like this, so we have like the first version and the last version of the security warnings, the ID and the message, and some other fields as well. So the first version and the last version. So this is for a particular plugin containing having security warnings. So if my current version lies between the first version and the last version, then there is a security vulnerability in my plugin as well. So that's the logic that I am using. I am comparing these semantic versions, and based on my comparison, I'll send a request to approve or decline the object condition. So this is the whole validation logic that I am using also, right? So for testing. So for testing, we are using three sorts of testing: the Helm test, the unit test, and the end-to-end test, right? So the Helm test, these are the only tests that we are doing right at the moment. So it builds the operator locally at each and every commit, and it deploys it locally, as well as launches a Jenkins object and tries to deploy the Jenkins object locally. So these tests are configured and done. Apart from that, the unit tests, these are for testing the internal function, and the end-to-end tests are for testing the overall code behavior. So these are the tests that I will be doing in implementing in phase 2, right? So on Helm charts, right? So we to deploy the Jenkins or the Jenkins operator, we are using Helm charts, right? So I have configured those Helm charts, and yeah. So apart from testing, one other major thing that I have to do in the second phase is to find an alternative to Cert Manager. So because just we are running the validating webhooks, and Cert Manager is a large application, right? So it also adds an external dependency to our operator. So I'll work on finding some other solution that is a bit more minimalist, uh, right? Yeah. So right now I am reviewing Cert Controller, which is a Go package specifically designed for webhooks, and it works in the same fashion. It provisions certificates and helps in certificate renewal. But like Cert Manager has a wide community and is very resilient and well maintained. So switching to some other application has its own caveat, right? So that's something I have to work upon first, right? So apart from that, yeah, so that's the whole implementation that I have discussed. So right now we are at the fifth week. So what I have done is I have scaffolded a new webhook. I have generated the manifest for Cert Manager. I have implemented the business logic, the validation interface, and I have updated the Helm templates and included manifests for Cert Manager and webhook, right? And I am able to run the Helm tests as well. So from in the phase 2, I have to improve the quality of my code and work on unit tests as well as end-to-end tests. Apart from that, I have to work on this alternative, finding an alternative to the Cert Manager for certificate provisioning and management. And in the last week, also I have to work on updating the documentation and working on the feedback as well. So apart from just validating the security warnings, what we can do is use the validation webhook to implement all other sorts of validation as well. So right now I have some ideas that can be done as well. So first is to check the required code version of the plugin, right? So what happens is there is a required core version of a particular plugin, and if the core version of that plugin exceeds the current version, then the pod crashes, right? So to remove this, the abrupt crash of the pod, I plan to implement this validation also in the validator interface. So that way, it could be checked before even the creation of a Jenkins code, right? So the next plan that I have in mind is to implement to right now we are using other sorts of validation logic in the reconciliation loop, right? So because of that, if the validation fails, the pod crashes. So we don't so that's not a good way of doing the validation. So if we are using the validation webhook, then I am planning to move the validation logic, the other validation logic that we are doing in the reconciliation loop, to the webhook as well. Apart from that, I want to implement a defaulter interface as well. So, like I said, there are validating webhooks. There are also defaulting webhooks, also known as mutating webhooks, right? So these act before the defaulting webhook configuration, act before the validating webhook configuration. So I, instead of like defining those default values in the reconciliation loop, what we can do is define those values in the defaulting admission webhook as well. So that way, after defining the default values, we can do the validation as well. So apart from that, I had a discussion with my mentors, and like we also want to add severity warnings for severity levels for security warnings, right? So the warnings have severity levels. Like if a particular security warning is rated medium, or it is of low severity, or it is of high severity. So I want that to implement in the Jenkins custom resource as well. So the user has a like way of specifying those warnings, and want to validate only for those warnings that have severity level equal or higher than the mentioned, right? So yeah, so that's all from my side. Thank you for your attention.